Now, I had understood that we had entered into a contract for mapping services with the Islands Trust, or we were exploring that.
Yeah.
I certainly know when we were doing the first draft of the budget for the Islands Trust, we thought there was a revenue line in here for that. Yeah.
Well, there was some mentioning about that when the steep slope analysis was done by the Islands Trust for other islands,
Yeah.
particularly also
Salt Spring, yeah.
They suggested that they would do that for Bowen Island as well, but Bowen Island declined, which was for us hard to understand why. So maybe
That's
we can pick
It's
up on
another
that.
topic, right,
Yeah.
to bring it up with,
Yes.
anybody else? Okay. Should we move on?
Our next item is Councillor Stone regarding engaging Metro Vancouver in acquiring land in the Snug Cove area.
You want to speak to that?
Sure, I will. Over the past couple of weeks, I've had several meetings with Peter Fritton, former Councillor Peter Fritton, about what has been done to date in terms of negotiations, essentially behind the scenes negotiations with Bowen Island and GBRD in terms of acquiring what is officially parkland in the cove on the north side. And Peter has done a fair amount of spade work. He's provided me with some maps of the cove, with the idea that what we would do is we would acquire a strip of land on the north side, the undeveloped side, the library side, that would be used for bettering the entrance to the island in terms of ferry marshalling and so on, and parking. With the logic being that we would, if that is our plan for the use of the land, that pretty much we can go to Metro Vancouver with the present makeup of their administration and the board, and negotiate with them with the idea that we're bettering the entrance to the island, so we're creating a better facade for their park at the same time. So there would be an argument for us to essentially negotiate acquiring the land. There might be a land swap involved for that, if in fact we move into the notion of acquiring land to develop on, then we're talking about people making money, so then we would have to get into negotiations with a real land swap or land swaps, money swap, in order to get land. But it has been discussed. Gaetan Royer was over here last summer, spent an afternoon with Peter walking around, looking at various parts of the cove, and he was quite amenable to talking to Bowen Island about doing some land trading, and not just the north side, all around the cove. And that's pretty much it.
We have a recommendation that council direct Councillor Stone to engage Metro Vancouver in preliminary discussion with the intent that Bowen Island Municipality acquire Metro Vancouver lands in the Snug Cove area, and that Councillor Stone report back to council.
Does that take the, does that need to be a resolution or?
I would suggest any direction at a council meeting should be by
Be a
resolution.
Do we have a mover in a second or before we have
I
a
still
discussion?
move.
Second, Tim? Discussion.
I think we all know from discussions that Councillor Fritton had that Metro Vancouver is interested in discussing with us. But I've also, we haven't had our strategic planning session, we haven't sat down and said this is the direction we're going with Snug Cove. And we have asked staff to have some of those discussions. And just remembering the process that we used when we acquired the surplus land, the negotiations were done staff to staff with direction from council as to, you know, where to go. And I just think it's a better process to have a staff to staff negotiations and discussions and staff start the initial discussions, and do it that way. So if we were going to move forward with this motion, I would suggest move the amendment that we delete the words Councillor Stone and insert staff in both paragraphs. Or the CAO. CAO maybe would be better, but staff is more generic.
So are you moving an amendment?
That's what I would propose to do. So I would move that the resolution be amended to say that council direct staff to engage Metro Vancouver in da-da-da-da, and that staff report back to council.
Second.
I don't think it changes the policy direction of the motion, so.
The only thing I would, because you are the rep on that board.
Where did you have that one?
Pardon?
It's a two-half position, and I was just also liking what I said to the process when we did the surplus lands. The representative we had on the Parks Committee was knowledgeable about what was going on, but was not doing any negotiations or having discussions on how to do it. It was all staff to staff.
But I think part of the, I think what Andrew's trying to say is that the dynamics may be changing in the next short while on Metro Vancouver, am I correct? On the board or the staff?
The CAO is slated to retire on February 14th. Allison is correct in that the lion's share of negotiation is gonna happen staff to staff.
Right.
But there will be some politicking, there will, because it has to be approved by Metro Vancouver. So there will be some discussions taking place. I guess the real intent of this motion is to set a policy direction and have it in the minutes. So changing it from Councillor Stone to staff, I don't think changes the policy direction.
Are you, so does it, the first part remain the same at council direct, Councillor Stone? Or is it changed to staff?
My motion was
To staff.
to change
To staff?
Yeah, but
Councillor Stone to staff in both.
I would suggest to make an amendment to Councillor Morse's motion. There are always a political level and a staff level. And I agree with Councillor Morse that it should not just be dealt with on the political level, but to restrict it or limit it to staff, in my opinion, would be equally unhelpful. So if we just said that staff and Councillor Stone in cooperation, act in cooperation, so that the political side does not work in isolation to staff, but staff knows what on the political level is discussed and vice versa.
I agree with you. I think it's a political decision as well as a staff decision.
I guess I mean, I'm not averse to that. I would assume that just because it's staff and so forth, because Councillor Stone is the rep, that doesn't preclude that he's not part of that ongoing negotiation, because he is basically a direct link. So whether the motions change to add the two parties, I'm not averse to that. The object is the same.
The second paragraph has reported back to council, and it's council that's got to direct what happens.
Would you be prepared to amend your,
No, I have my motion the way it is.
did you want to say something?
No, I was just gonna emphasize, apart from the conversation, that this fits totally in with the strategic plan that Councillor Morse alluded to, and that the land acquisition and the Snug Cove implementation plan, those are all things that are a focus of your discussion, and this ties in with it. So whether the suggested amendments, they support what we need to do in any case, so it works for us.
So, well, should we have a vote on the amendment and see where that goes first.
Correct.
Is everybody ready to vote on the amendment?
So the amendment is,
Do we delete Councillor Stone and replace it with staff in both paragraphs?
In both paragraphs?
Yeah.
And what, or the second sentence?
which doesn't preclude Councillor Stone, whatever discussion.
We've had it moved and seconded?
It's been moved to second. Right. Question? All those in favor of the amendment? Okay. All those opposed? And, I'm just wondering, listening to what Councillor Duntz had to say about the political and the, and actually the staff. I'm just wondering if we can ask for another amendment from council to possibly say that council direct both Councillor Stone and staff to engage Metro Vancouver, because that would then cover us on both levels.
You can move that in.
Can I move that amendment? Well, I so move that amendment to both the first paragraph or sentence and the second sentence.
I would second this.
Any further discussion on that, or?
Technically, is it engaged or is it continued discussion? Sounds like it's.
It's continued, it sounds like.
Yes.
It should be continued. So I'll make that amendment as well.
Okay. I second it again.
So that has to turn the wording around then.
I could read or propose, council direct Councillor Stone and staff to continue discussions with Metro Vancouver, with the intent that Bowen Island Municipality acquire Metro Vancouver lands in the Snug Cove area, and that Councillor Stone and staff report back to council.
Yeah.
But first we will need council to vote on the amendment. We have a mover with Mayor Adelaar, and seconder. Oh, yeah, Councillor Duntz. You see that amendment voted on?
Okay, can we have, all those in favor of the amendment? Okay. And those against? No.
And then I need council just to vote on the resolution where, with those amendments incorporated, which I just read out. And we have a mover and seconder with that already.
Question? All those in favor? Those against? Okay. Motion? Or recommendation?
Well, our next item of business is Councillor Morse regarding, sorry, my paper's in mixed up here, regarding BC Ferries. And we have an on-table item, PowerPoint presentation from Councillor Morse. Oh.
Well, give those to the audience and I'll pass.
We have other ones for the audience as well. And these are the ones with the notes on them.